Now on CoastTV News.
Water rescue fears the assessment from emergency crews after an extensive search for a teenager who fell into the Broadkill River. Facebook privacy penalty CEO Mark Zuckerberg expected in Delaware Chancery Court today as shareholders want payment on over $8 billion in fines.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Elisa Weber and welcome to Coast TV News Midday. We have an update on a story about the 18-year-old man who went missing in the Broadkill River on Tuesday afternoon. Delaware State Police say they have resumed that search for George Chillel on Tuesday, and after hours of searching, the Lewis Fire Department says he's presumed dead. According to the department, emergency crews were dispatched around 3:45. The man was standing on a piece of wood while fishing when he slipped and fell into the water. New this morning, the Rehoboth Beach Police Department says it needs the community's help to find these suspects. According to police, they are believed to be connected to multiple spray painting incidents by Delaware Avenue near the beach. Anyone who knows information is asked to contact police immediately. In Delaware, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is set to attend court today in an $8 billion trial. Shareholders accuse Zuckerberg and other former and current company leaders of harvesting users' data without their consent. The case stems from the 2018 Cambridge Analytica scandal, which exposed how millions of users' data was accessed without permission. Zuckerberg and others deny those claims. The non-jury trial in Wilmington is expected to last 8 days. And we are now taking a live look outside at a very busy Rehoboth Beach. Bob, we're going to talk about that forecast. It's a little warm there on the beach, but today might be better than tomorrow. You're talking some really hot temperatures.
Absolutely, Elisa, and a beautiful day at the coast as we're seeing the threat for heavy rain starting to decrease. And then the heat, we're ratcheting up that thermostat. We're turning it up mid to upper 80s right now. 84 in Delmar, Millsboro 85, the same for Dagsboro, Lewis 84. A little cooler from Rehoboth down to Ocean City, upper 70s there. But these dew points are downright nasty with dew points in the mid to upper 70s, so it's a steam bath out there. Already feeling like 100 in Redden, 96 in Laurel, 98 in Willards, 96 in Dagsboro. So make sure you have plenty of water with you this afternoon and take it slow in the heat as we do have a southwesterly breeze. Visible satellite picture showing some cumulus clouds beginning to pop up. Nothing in the way of rain, but we have a stationary boundary to our north and west and a disturbance to the west, and that will ride right along that front and give us that chance of storms as we go into tonight. But I think much of the afternoon is just hot and humid with upper 80s and then lower 90s, even 92 in Rehoboth and Lewis at 2 p.m., 80s at the coast. I still think we're dry but very warm and muggy as we go into the evening hours and feeling like 100 in Millsboro and Milton with mid 90s at the coast with the humidity. So take care in the heat as it's near 90 this afternoon. Then this evening there is another chance of some heavier showers and storms. More on that threat and the heat and what to expect for the weekend coming up in my full forecast a little bit later on.
Thank you, Bob. Maryland's coastal communities now have a tool to help plan for flooding. This is the Maryland Coastal Flood Explorer. This was launched this month by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources. The interactive online map shows high tide flooding predictions, sea level rise projections by decade through 2120, and past flood events like Superstorm Sandy and Hurricane Isabel. The department says people can enter an address to see how flooding impacts them both today and in the future. The intersection of Zoar and Peterkins Road is going to see some changes. Another roundabout will be added in Georgetown. DelDOT hosted a workshop this week where the public could make suggestions, ask questions, and learn more about roundabouts. DelDOT Group engineer Brian Behrens told Coast TV he believes this upgrade will keep the traffic flow at a better and safer pace.
What we see now is just cars, especially at the peak time, still backing up at those stop signs, and so the roundabout is going to keep that moving, flowing a little bit better during those peak hours. But in the off-peak, it's just so much safer than having someone, than having the stop conditions or even a traffic signal there where there's potential for more conflict points at those types of intersections.
And the timeline for this project has not yet been set, but DelDOT is looking at a $4 million price tag. New this morning, according to a study from Denrick, scientists looked at Delaware land to find which areas could support tidal wetlands in the future as sea levels rise. Denrick says this process is known as marsh mitigation. Denrick says it looked at different sea level rise scenarios and found more than 21,000 acres in the state that are highly suitable for this migration. Most of that land is in Sussex County and Kent County, with also some in Newcastle County. Denmark says knowing where wetlands might go can help landowners and scientists protect the future of Delaware's coastal environment. In Sussex County, the Planning and Zoning Commission is welcoming a new member to the group as it says it continues to tackle ongoing growth challenges in southern Delaware. County Council says they appointed Jeffrey G. Allen of Laurel, who will begin his term on August 1st. Allen spent 5 years on the Laurel School Board District of Education, including 2 years as vice president. His term will last through June 2028. President Trump is back after a Tuesday investment announcement in Western Pennsylvania. Critics of the president's tariffs policy claim prices on everyday goods will rise. They are citing a recently released economic report. As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, the effect of the president's tariffs are starting to set in.
In a new snapshot of the U.S. economy, inflation picked up a notch in June, raising questions about the impact of President Trump's tariffs, beginning to slowly work their way through the economy, concerns he downplayed.
Very slight. Essentially, they were exactly as anticipated, very low inflation. So what you should do is lower the rate. The Fed should lower the rate immediately.
The president ramping up his pressure on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to lower interest rates, decreasing the cost of borrowing money. Though any sign of rising prices will complicate the Fed's next moves as it works to drive inflation down below 2%.
What is important here is that the rate of change, how quickly prices are changing, is increasing.
The new report showing consumer prices rose 2.7% in June, 0.3% higher than in May, a slight reversal from the overall downward trend this year. In tariff-targeted sectors, the price of appliances, toys, furniture, and bedding all rose, while the cost of a new vehicle dropped.
What we're realizing is that it takes a lot longer for tariffs to sort of work their way through the economy, and we may still see again, inflation continue to rise.
President Trump rejects that idea, adamant tariffs are bringing in big money and pointing to new investments in the U.S., including in energy and AI, rolling out more news Tuesday in Pennsylvania.
More than $56 billion in new energy infrastructure and more than $36 billion in new data center projects.
President Trump betting big on his vision for the economy. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Coming up after the break, street signs sold, how officials in Berlin say proceeds from that auction will go back into the community. An online auction for old street signs has paid off big in Berlin. For the past few weeks, these old signs have been up for bidding, with proceeds going to help pay for the new community center on Flower Street. The auction is now closed, and town officials say they raised more than $10,000.
I really didn't know what the kind of response would be, and I'm so pleased. I think that there were as many people who are interested in the street signs as there are people who are interested in supporting our future community center.
Some signs had more than 30 bids on them, and more than 140 signs were auctioned off. While the $10,000 will go towards that new community center, the project also has some help in the form of federal and state grants. Happening today, planned maintenance in Lewis. According to the city, crews will be working on the Savannah drawbridge this afternoon. You can see that area on your screen right now. The city says that work will begin at 1 p.m.
Taking a live look over Delaware Bay. Beautiful conditions, some sailboats out there, puffy clouds, 92 in Lewis on the Tullamore Razor Cam. It's going to be hot as we go into the afternoon. As the chance for flooding goes down, the threat for the heat goes up, and very strong heat as we go into the upcoming weekend. We'll have more on that coming up. We have an umbrella winner. Our umbrella giveaway winner today is Stephen Jordan from Milford. Congratulations to him from Paul Davis and Coast TV. More on the hotter forecast coming up after the break. We have a gorgeous Wednesday in progress across Delmarva as our chances for flash flooding are going down while we're cranking up the heat the next couple of days, and a beautiful shot on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Cam. Look at the landscape, all green from the recent rain. 85 and lower, but that dew point, 78, making for very muggy conditions as we're headed into the upper 80s to close to 90 this afternoon. And we picked up a lot of rain in places. Here's Georgetown. So far for the month, we have a surplus of about 2.5 inches, normally close to 2 inches, but we picked up almost 4.5 inches this month, and for the year, close to 4 inches above normal. normal for the year 26.29 and normally 22.40. So definitely doing good in the rain department. And we still have a chance of showers, maybe heavier storms as we go into this evening and tonight. Then I think those chances go down on Thursday. They come up a little bit on Friday, and then Saturday too, maybe an isolated storm. But all in all, I think the first half of the weekend is good. Then the second half, I think we're looking at a cold front moving through and a better chance of showers and storms. As far as the excessive rainfall outlook, we're seeing that slight chance now to our north and west. About a 20 to 30% chance of flash flooding in any one spot in this yellow area, eastern shore, farther to the north as we go into this evening, with lesser chances from Sussex County down farther to the south and west. And then as we go into your Thursday, I think we're looking even better as far as the excessive rain, and that we're not going to see it. And then we're in a marginal risk as we go into your Friday, a lower chance. Right now, temperatures into the mid to upper 80s, 87 in Redden, Gumboro 86, Dagsboro 86, 78 Ocean City, 81 in Bethany Beach, and those dew points are brutal into the mid to upper 70s, already giving us triple digit feels like temperatures in Seaford, Redden, and Milton. Feels like 100 there, feels like 96 in Millsboro, 95 in Gumboro. So make sure you take it slow this afternoon. Stay hydrated with water as we have a southwesterly breeze. And now we're seeing puffy cumulus clouds across much of Delmarva. Maybe a few light showers trying to get going south of Ocean City to Chincoteague. But we're going to be looking at sun and clouds this afternoon as we have that stationary boundary to our north and west, and also an upper level disturbance across the Ohio Valley. That will swing in and give us that chance for storms tonight. Meanwhile, the heat is building across the Carolinas, and maybe a tropical system developing across the northern Gulf Coast as this is tracking to the west, but it is running into a lot of land. It'll be interacting with land, so about a 40% chance of it developing as we go through the next few days. If it does develop into a named storm, the named storm would be Dexter. Yes, just like the TV show. Here's 1 p.m. on Futurecast, upper 80s and lower 90s. It's going to be a hot and muggy afternoon, and the same for this evening. As we go through the overnight, I think we do have one more chance of seeing heavier showers and storms late this evening into very early tomorrow morning. It looks like this model is backed off a little bit, but as we go into Thursday morning, warm and muggy, and then a hot Thursday on the way. Low 90s inland, 80s and 90s at the coast. We're going to crank up the thermostat. Not expecting severe weather for most of us eastern shore and farther to the north, a low chance, but we definitely could see some heavy rain as we go through the evening, and then just isolated chances Friday and Saturday. I think a better chance of those storms on Sunday, and some places maybe at least a half an inch of rain on top of what we've already seen, as it remains very muggy, very humid and miserable the next few days, maybe a little drier early next week. All right, here's your forecast for today. 90 in Millsboro, 86 in Rehoboth Beach. For the eastern shore, 90 in Easton, 89 in Vienna, and Pocomoke City around 89 in Berlin as well. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, 94 Thursday, but feeling as hot as 105. You really want to take care out there. Friday 90, and then mid to upper 80s into the weekend. Dry Saturday, but it looks like more storms Sunday into the early part of next week.
Thank you, Bob. And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
Halfway through the week here at Coast Life, let's see what's coming up today at 4 on the show. We know that the wild world of real estate is always changing. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, and maybe things aren't quite living up to your expectations, we got a little bit of a reality check for you.
Plus, do you love crafts? Do you love craft shows? Well, they have one in Angola coming up. We're going to talk about that.
And if you love a good meal, we've got a great little date night idea for you. All that fun and so much more is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life. We will see you then.
The Sussex County Council has approved $7,000 to help Millsboro launch its new canine unit. Chief Brian Calloway says the dog will address drug-related issues, but also interact with the community. The dog and handler are set to start training at the Delaware State Police Canine Academy in September. Calloway added the canine will be available to assist all agencies across Sussex County. And the Little League Softball Mid-Atlantic Regional Tournament kicks off this Sunday. Delmarva Sports Network will be in Bristol, Connecticut, covering Maryland's Del Mar team and Delaware's Camden, Wyoming squad. It is brought to you by Preston Automotive, and we will have live updates and game highlights all week on the Delmarva Sports Network app, website, and social media. Stay tuned to the Delmarva Sports Network for all of that action. Coast TV will be right back. The summer season leads to spending more time outdoors, but with time in nature comes the risk of ticks. The Virginia Department of Health says Accomack County is topping the charts for some tick-related illnesses. Virginia health officials have some advice for staying safe while enjoying your time outside.
I would never recommend anybody avoid the outdoors. I think we probably do too much of that as it is these days. So, you know, like I had mentioned, long pants, long sleeves, socks and shoes, boots preferred if you can, and the situation is okay for that.
And according to the Virginia Health Department, Accomack County has the highest number of cases in the state, which could result in more cases of Lyme's disease.
Beautiful summer day in Ocean View, 86 degrees, headed into the upper 80s this afternoon. The flood threat is decreasing, but the heat is increasing heading into the end of the week. Call the Coast TV First Alert Weather Phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico. Your 10-day forecast is coming up next. Stay hydrated with water this afternoon. A hot and steamy Wednesday afternoon. Upper 80s, close to 90 degrees. At least there's a little bit of a breeze. Maybe some showers and storms this evening, but inland as hot as 100 this afternoon and mid-90s inland. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 94 Thursday. It's going to feel as hot as 105 in the afternoon. Maybe slightly cooler Friday, but still very hot. Mid to upper 80s into the weekend. Dry Saturday, but storms Sunday into early next week, and then drying out, then back into the low 90s as we go into next Thursday and Friday.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Midday. And for more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Don't forget to join us for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. Have a great day.